Hello everyone, welcome again to another 360 Timmy. Tonight we are in Singleton Lake in Ashford, Kent, and my special guest tonight is Ash Heathcote. Welcome, Ash.
Mate, how are you?
Ash is someone that's always bored and is after a challenge. I tried to think of a way of describing him, but he's had such an interesting background which we're going to cover on this episode. So Ash, tell us about your background, I guess, to begin with.
Well, where do you start? I suppose from Yorkshire, originally Huddersfield, 1982, obviously the Falklands, joined the army.
The Falklands War in
Falklands War.
1982, yeah.
Got there in 1988.
That's after the war.
Indeed, peacekeeping, so literally went for 4 months. So I did 7 years in the army, Gibraltar, Norway, nuclear site guards, did all sorts, even sunk a tank in Germany. Well, I didn't, Huggy did, he drove it into a ditch.
Who's Huggy?
He was the driver. We wrote off a chieftain tank.
So that's quite a start there. So, but where did it all begin for you? Where were you born?
Born in Huddersfield, 1964. Went to Fartown Secondary Modern, Huddersfield, and grew up. Nothing spectacular, I suppose. Same sort of childhood as most people. Nothing particularly interesting. And then, as I said, joined the army.
And was it literally the Falklands War that encouraged you to join the army? You wanted a bit of action, some excitement?
Well, at the time, I was an ice cream man. I used to do Home Firth, where they film Last of the Summer Wine, and I just thought there's more to life than that.
Yeah, quite a slow pace there, isn't it?
Yeah, a bit of a slow pace. So, joined the army. Came out of the army about 89, became a lifeguard fitness instructor because I was a physical training instructor. And then the job came up at a police training centre that you're probably familiar with.
Yes, so this is where I first knew you. So I worked at this particular police training centre, and my first introduction to you was you had been on a trip to America on holiday. You had managed to talk a police academy.
Oh, Penn State Police Academy, yes.
Into letting you do a training session.
Yes.
And you had a video of yourself in an American video format,
yes,
which is why you wanted me to convert it to a British, where basically a helicopter landed, you jump out the helicopter.
That's the one.
Ran down a hill
yeah.
to where some perpetrators, well, it was all kind of a stage.
Well, it was all stage, yeah. Pump action shotgun was thrust into my hand, so I shot them.
It was literally like watching an action movie. And I thought, who is this guy and what does he do?
Rolled over a car bonnet. They then gave me a 9mm, carried on with that shooting stuff. It was a right laugh.
So, yes, so obviously since then, that was my introduction to you. And it was, what does this guy, and I literally had just started. I was a video technician, and you were a PCI, physical training instructor.
Yes,
what did you train in the police?
Well, basically my role was what they call a staff safety trainer. So I used to do batons, handcuffs, unarmed combat, self-defence, riot training with the infamous Pete Beck, who obviously we knew.
So you need to explain who Pete Beck is, because the audience doesn't know
who Pete Beck is. Pete Beck, ex-Grenadier Guard, and for anyone that went through police training, you could probably hear his voice in Yorkshire when he was giving off the drill commands. An infamous, very interesting person who I shadowed and obviously worked quite a lot with doing riot training, and then eventually took over and took the police pass-out parades as the instructors. I led them out in front of all their family and marched them off the square, and they all became police officers. So I did that for many years at the training centre, but sadly it closed, as we know.
But let's stay on that for a bit, because we're going over these things very quickly, and I think you're missing an awful lot of detail out. So if you joined the police,
yes,
certainly between the 70s and the early 2000s, you went to a force in the southeast.
Yes.
And you would go to this police training centre that's based in Ashford in Kent.
Yes.
For 15 weeks. You do a kind of a national course and go back to your force.
Yes.
So we had a steady intake of around 100 students every intake, I believe.
Yes, we did, yes.
So they did law training.
Mm-hmm.
They did riot training, as you indicated.
Yep.
There were things like every force has a different set of handcuffs.
That's right, train the handcuffs, the batons. As I said, the self-defence, life-saving, first aid.
Capacitance spray?
Eventually, yeah, because I transferred. When the centre closed down, I ended up going to Sussex Police and became a trainer on a decommissioned nuclear bunker in Ashdown Forest, built for Margaret Thatcher. So I would work 60 foot underground in an air conditioned, still there now, it's called Ashdown, oh gosh, I can't remember the name of it. But Sussex Police took it over, and it was built for the Cold War, decommissioned because technically it leaks now, so it's not very secure. But yeah, I used to do what they call pepper spray. So police recruits, I'd spray them in the face with pepper spray. That was my job.
Crikey.
And the swearing that they did after that was very interesting. But
What
yeah, I
I
love the
didn't
job.
really get from you earlier though is what made you leave the army and go to the police? So was it just a tenure thing, or?
The thing is with the army, because I was relatively fit at the time, I was cavalry unit, but I transferred to the Ordnance Corps, who were very laid back. And because I was really fit, and they had taskings like the Falklands, Gibraltar, Arctic Warfare, Allied Command Europe, AMFL it's called, Allied Command Europe Mobile Force Land, like a rapid reaction unit, I kept getting sent on it. And I had a word with the boss, and I said, look, you know, with all due respect, is there nobody else in the unit? And he looked me in the face and said, technically no, because we don't trust anyone else. And he said, you're the only one we dare send that won't make us look stupid. And it was pretty much after that I went, well, kind of had enough. I think I'll try something else. And as I say, I left the army, became a fitness instructor, and obviously saw the job at Ashford.
But you weren't. Were you in Kent then, or were you still?
No, I was still in Huddersfield. Came down to Kent for the interview. I remember it very well, and I thought, I don't stand a chance. The people I were up against, you know, they all, in my opinion, just came off far better than me. Was about to leave, and one of the staff said, where are you going? I said, well, I'm going home. And they said, no, we want to talk to you about the job, you've got it. And I went, are you joking? They went, no. And as I say, the rest is history.
So that kind of gave you a lot of. I mean, you obviously learned things as well going through that role, didn't you? And you had to start teaching all kinds of things. At the end,
gosh, I mean, the learning experience at Harrogate, at Panel Ash, where we did the training. I mean, I had literally just come out of the army, so, you know, diversity, equal opportunity, I knew very little about, and it was a massive learning curve for myself, because of course things were done a lot differently in the 80s, and I was now a police trainer, stand out in front of impressionable young people and imparting wisdom and knowledge on how to defend themselves. You know, when my background had been, for all intents and purposes, a squaddy in the army coming from Yorkshire, and so I had a lot of learning to do, and it has held me in good stead, you know.
It's interesting, isn't it? Because in terms of diversity and training, that what you're talking about, the mid-90s, so there's a lot of perception. There's a lot of issues in the police to this day. We know it from what's going on in the Met, but it's kind of interesting that all that training was done back in the mid-90s, and police were a little bit ahead of the game there, weren't they?
Very, very much so. And you know, the idea of obviously and knowing that there are, you know, bad eggs. There'll be bad eggs in every society, because with all due respect, if you're a bad egg, you can hide. And I think that's what a lot of some of the, you know, police officers that are now coming out, they're just very good at hiding. And at the police training centre, you only had them for so long, you can't tell who's good and who's bad.
But you did have them residentially for several weeks on, not just for a couple of hours in a college or a university.
Oh no, we did get rid of a lot. I saw a lot go down the drive due to behavioural problems and, you know, issues. I even saw trainers. I remember one of the staff making a comment. I think 2 hours later he was gone.
Yeah.
You know, and it was good times though, because we worked hard. We did work hard, and we did put out a good product. We were very good at what we did.
So all in all, you would have trained police officers from forces all around the southeast.
Yep, there were 43 forces, I think. Somebody said at one point that we had trained. There were 6 training centres around the UK, and obviously we were the southeast. But yeah, often we would get Jersey, Guernsey officers, Met, City of London, not Met, I beg your pardon, City of London, Sussex, Surrey, Hampshire, all over the place.
Transport police.
Yep, British Transport Police, trained. I tried to work out once how many had gone through. I reckon it was about 12,000 maybe.
Crikey, that's incredible.
About 12,000. And as I say, it was good times, but the place came to an end, and obviously the training's now changed, it's back in force. So I set up my own business and became a trainer, health and safety, and this is where we are today.
And I guess also though, didn't things like door supervisor training come in as I think a former director of the police training centre or the police training organisation we work for set up a proper scheme so that doormen on nightclubs and pubs have a proper SIA accreditation.
That's it, yeah.
So you were quite good. That was a natural.
Oh yeah. I
mean, to go into, wasn't it? After that, I guess.
Literally, would be around 2010 is when I set up my own business. Was when the Olympics, they were now sort of recruiting, and I landed quite a few contracts training SIA security, working with various colleges around the southeast. And for a few years, I had quite a lot of security coming through that we were training. But of course, then the Olympics, once it had finished, obviously a surplus of security. So that's, I guess, when I moved more into health and safety consultancy and training. So now I go all around the southeast. I've worked with Emirates, Tottenham Hotspur, Harrods, or companies that work with Harrods rather. So I've, coming from Yorkshire, I've done really well.
You have. You always seem to be somewhere different. It's incredible, actually. So is that the future for you now, or? Well,
the future. I made a decision, as you know, 6 years ago to go into properties, and I bought my first house. I think 2017. I think it was. And without obviously sharing too much, I have quite a few now. So again, it was just something on a whim. So I literally I don't have to work. I work because I want to. I don't have to. But as you know, I can't sit still.
Yes.
So I'm always looking for something.
So this was the challenge at the start of the video. I was trying to find a title for you because you've been in the army, you've been a police trainer, you run your own business, you're now an entrepreneur in terms of property, and you still want a challenge. I mean, it's like excuse the term, it's like a disease. Can't sit still. Yeah.
I have to do something. I mean, I was a special constable for 4 years. I've trained Duke of Edinburgh for schools. I'm even still one of the NHS response on my app. So during the COVID, if people needed medicine and stuff, it's called a responder, I think. Always looking for something. Not quite sure what the future. I started a gardening company during lockdown because I was bored. So I was cutting grass, putting sheds up, painting fences. In fact, I've done loads around here. They keep asking me, will you come and cut my grass? And no, I don't do it anymore.
It was just that period.
It was just, I'm not sitting down for 4 months. So I went out and set up a business and it was going really well.
You say you literally couldn't do any training during that period?
No, couldn't do it. I literally, it was a case of like most people, you had to stay at home. And I thought, I'm going to go stir crazy. I can't do this.
Yeah.
Right, what do people need? They need the grass cut. Right, I'll do that. So I bought myself a multi-tool Titan grass cutter thing, put a banner on my fence, and before I knew it, the phone was ringing and I was off. And I don't know. I mean, I'm trying to slow down. I mean, I've got my motorbike, got my car, my windsurfer, and
you're still training?
I'm still training, yeah, still.
Is that mainly first aid and fire at safety?
Yes, yeah. Anything to do with health and safety. I do construction sites. I do a lot of care homes, so work a lot in care homes. I do mental health first aid that people have probably heard about. There's not a lot I don't. Fire extinguishers, pat testing. I'll have a go at anything really.
Yeah.
It's just keeping active, keeping going.
And you obviously you've had situations where, as you say, where you were special in the Sussex Police. You've been in the army, so you've tested some of it. You're not just training something you've never done.
Well,
yourself.
That's why I did it. I mean, when I was a police trainer, obviously we civilians took over from the police. We were all civilians, and my argument was, I'm telling people that you need to do this, you need to do that, but I don't do it. So I became a special, and I used to go out every weekend with Kent's Finest. And if there was a skirmish, if there was a problem, I also got independence, which means I went out on my own. So I just signed a patrol car out. And 2005, I got a commendation for bravery. Had to do with a nasty incident, which obviously I don't want to say too much
No.
about because it's still quite local.
Yeah.
But yeah, it was. A couple of officers got knocked out, and it wasn't very nice.
No.
But no, I mean, I can't complain. You know, I've got, you know, my mates, known you for a long time. You know, I've got a lovely partner. We're off on holiday, as you know, on Thursday again, and she loves me to death.
So I guess I want to know where's Ash going to be in 20 years' time then? Because I can't imagine you sitting in an old people's home, going reminiscing about the world. I think you're always wanting a challenge, aren't you? So
I'm not sure. I am looking.
what, old people's home?
No, no. There's a couple of things that I'm interested because I've got my HGV1,
Yeah.
and it's something I'd like to do more with, but I probably won't. But there are certain jobs, for example, custodians of campsites, where you go and actually look after a campsite for sort of 6 months, and you know, cut the grass, clean the toilets, meet the people, and literally just look after the place. Now that kind of interests me.
Because you did something similar to that years ago, didn't you? You used to take customers from Kent down to the south of France to go skiing.
Yeah.
You'd have a day skiing on a Saturday and bring a load back, and on the
yeah,
overnight train to
basically, I was a ski rep for a company called Fantaski that no longer exists, and you've got Ski France and various other companies. And I did that for a season, and then came back and carried on sort of skiing. And obviously, people said, "Oh, can we come with you?" And I went, "Oh yeah, all right then." So first time I think I hired a minibus, went to Aviemore, and then it sort of grew, ended up with 2 minibuses, and then finally it was a coach down to down Teen Val d'Isère, where, you know, I'm there taking people skiing on a coach thinking, oh my God, this is getting out of hand. You know, it was just a few friends, but it just kind of grew and grew and grew. And like I said, I scaled it back after that because I was a bit worried, thinking, am I a tour operator? Should I be getting ABTA insurance? I don't know. Yeah, I don't know what's round the corner. Health-wise, I'm still pretty fit. I still go down the gym, although my body's starting to fall apart a bit, you know, back, knees, hips. Well,
you know, I would just love to be able to find that video of you in the police academy when I first knew you, because that was literally the most bizarre introduction to anyone I've ever had in my life.
I do remember it very well.
You have lived every inch of that video all the time I've known you. So today's been a fascinating conversation. Thanks, Ash.
Thanks.
And hope to catch up soon on your next venture.
Certainly will, mate. Certainly will.